Have you ever tried to, visualize your dream life?
Oh, I think we all have at some point.
Right. You know the drill. You close your eyes. You picture yourself wildly successful, completely at peace, maybe sitting on a beach somewhere with a drink in your hand.
The classic image.
Exactly. And you feel absolutely amazing for about 5 minutes. And then you open your eyes. Your inbox is still overflowing. Your stress is still sky high. And well, that one massive task you have been avoiding all week is just sitting right there on your desk, staring at you. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah, it is an incredibly harsh landing. And I mean, it explains why so many people try visualization for a week, feel foolish, and completely abandon the practice.
They just drop it.
They do, because they treat it like a mental vacation.
Yeah.
And when the vacation ends, reality hits them twice as hard.
So today we are diving into an excerpt from a really fascinating guide called The Bridge to Becoming, a guide to active visualization. And our mission here, for you listening, is to dismantle that fluffy, just believe it and it will happen style of manifestation that totally dominates the internet right now.
Right. The toxic positivity stuff.
Yeah. We are looking at a highly practical framework designed to turn visualization from an escape mechanism into a literal bridge to measurable behavior change.
We are looking at how to stop daydreaming and start actually installing a new identity. And the text opens by addressing this massive misconception in modern self-help that we have to unlearn before we even attempt to close our eyes.
Okay, what is the misconception?
Well, there's this false dichotomy out there. On one side, you have the purely fluffy visualization focusing on vague positive feelings that quickly bleed into pure fantasy.
A beach with a drink.
Exactly. And then on the other side, you have visualizations that are so aggressively practical, they're basically just glorified high-stress to-do lists. And the problem is, neither actually changes your underlying habits.
And where this really gets tangled up, I think, is how we view material success. Because a lot of modern coaches and gurus will preach a very ascetical message. They will say, do not visualize material things. Don't visualize money. Don't visualize the big house. That is shallow. Just focus on who you are becoming.
Right, they shame the material desire.
Yeah, but the source material makes a really bold counter-argument here. It argues that visualizing material things, a better house, a nice car, a massive bank balance, is not inherently shallow at all.
No, because people do not experience success as just a warm, vague inner glow. They see it, they touch it, they live inside of it.
That makes sense.
Abstract concepts like, financial freedom or peace are notoriously hard for the brain's visual cortex to render. You cannot easily visualize an abstract noun.
Wait, that is such a good point. You literally can't picture freedom.
Exactly. But you can see a calendar with breathing room. You can see yourself making a decision without that familiar knot of financial panic in your stomach. The guide explains that these worldly things are not the problem. They are symbols.
Okay, wait, hold on. I need to stop you there. Let's unpack this on behalf of the listener. Let's say I am sitting around visualizing myself driving a brand new, top-of-the-line Ferrari.
Okay, the Ferrari.
How is that not just feeding my ego? I mean, that sounds like pure materialism to me.
Well, the problem isn't the Ferrari itself. The problem is stopping at the Ferrari. You have to decode the symbol.
Decode it.
Right. If you visualize that luxury car, you don't shame the desire, but you interrogate it. You ask yourself, what does this physical object actually represent for my life?
Oh, I see.
Maybe for you, the Ferrari represents ultimate freedom, or the fact that you finally took a massive risk in your career, or that you kept a huge promise to yourself.
So the car isn't the actual destination. It's like the indicator light on a dashboard.
I love that, yes.
Yeah. The light itself doesn't power the car. It just proves that the internal engine of discipline, better sales, and risk-taking is actually functioning.
The symbol is a doorway. It leads you to the behavior required to get there. Because if you just imagine the car without anchoring it to the behavior that earns it, your mind becomes addicted to the dopamine reward of the image.
Without doing the work.
Exactly. You never respect the difficult process required to manifest it. Take another example from the text. Visualizing a business that runs completely without you.
Oh, the 4-hour work week dream.
Right. On the surface, that sounds like a lazy fantasy of never working again. Decode the symbol, though. And a business running without you actually requires intense leadership, incredible systems, and deep trust in a competent team.
Wow. But, realizing the car or the business is just a symbol doesn't automatically rewire your brain. You still need a blueprint to get there. How do we actually construct a vision of the future that changes our daily behavior?
This is where it gets really practical. The guide insists on setting your visualization
Mhm.
on a very specific timeline, 3 years into the future.
Not 5, not 10.
Not 1 year, not 10 years, 3.
Yeah.
This taps into a concept in behavioral psychology known as temporal discounting.
Temporal discounting. Okay.
Yeah, our brains are hardwired to struggle with valuing distant rewards. If you visualize 10 years out, it feels like science fiction to your nervous system.
You feel zero urgency.
Right. And if you visualize 1 year out, it feels like next week. You just focus on all the constraints and obstacles currently in your way. 3 years is the sweet spot.
Because it's believable.
It is far enough away for substantial foundational change to happen in your income, your body, and your relationships. But it is close enough that your brain can actually believe it is tangible.
And I think that sets us up perfectly for what the source calls the Ordinary Tuesday test. Because look, if I visualize myself standing on a yacht in the Mediterranean every single day, my brain just says, hey buddy, you have a 9 a.m. Zoom call in your living room. Who are we kidding?
Life is not lived on a yacht. Life is lived on a Tuesday.
Exact.
A perfect, flawless future where you are constantly receiving awards and drinking champagne. It feels fake to your nervous system because it is fake. You need to ask yourself what your dream looks like on a completely ordinary Tuesday morning. A meaningful future on a normal Tuesday feels alive.
I love the contrast the text gives regarding how we visualize our health to illustrate this. So a weak visualization is just repeating to yourself, I am fit. I am healthy.
Very generic.
Right. But the stronger version, the Ordinary Tuesday version, is so much more vivid. It says, and I'm quoting here, I wake up lighter, my clothes fit well, I trust my body, my discipline is visible.
Oh, that's so good. The weak version is a passive announcement. The strong version is lived experience.
And what blows my mind is how that stronger version forces you to confront the gap between your current identity and your future self.
How?
Well, if your future self's discipline is visible on a Tuesday, and today happens to be Tuesday, the vision quietly demands an answer from you. Like, what are you doing right now to build that discipline?
Yes. And that tension is the core of the source's 4-layer method for building these mental scenes.
Walk us through the 4 layers.
So, when you enter that 3-year future, you don't just look around vaguely. You build the environment in 4 specific layers. Layer 1 is the visible dream. What do you literally see? Your home office, your calendar, your bank balance.
Okay, those are the symbols we decoded earlier.
Exactly. Then layer 2 is changed activity. What are you actually doing differently on this Tuesday? You aren't just sitting there. Are you delegating tasks? Are you protecting your attention by leaving your phone in another room?
Are you actually leading the meeting instead of hiding in the back?
Right. Then layer 3 is emotional meaning. What does all of this actually feel like in your chest? Calm, choice, self-respect.
And then layer 4 is the present bridge. You look at that 3-year reality, that specific Tuesday, and you ask, what action today creates this?
So now we have this highly engineered 4-layer vision of our ordinary Tuesday 3 years from now. But there is a massive pitfall here.
There's always a catch.
If you try to jump into this vivid, highly evolved future the very second you wake up, while your brain is buzzing with unanswered emails, family logistics, and work stress, and that beautiful vision is going to bounce right off of your brain.
It's like trying to install a massive software update while your computer is rendering a 4K video. You have to close the background apps first by settling the nervous system. You are freeing up the processing power.
That is a perfect way to put it. You cannot visualize effectively in what the text calls reaction mode. When you wake up, your cortisol levels naturally spike.
Because you're waking up to alarms and stress.
Your brain immediately scans the environment for threats and obligations.
Yeah.
You are in a mild state of sympathetic nervous system arousal, fight or flight. So the very first step of the daily practice is not to visualize at all. The first job is to settle the physical body and force a shift into the parasympathetic state, rest and digest.
And the physical protocol they provide for this is wonderfully simple. There are no complicated spiritual performances or hour-long meditations. It's just a 4-4 breath. You inhale for 4 counts, you exhale for 4 counts, you do that 4 times.
And then you add muscle contrast.
Tell us about the contrast.
You gently stiffen your hands, hold the tension for a moment, and release. You imagine the air flowing across your palms, then you stiffen your arms, hold and release. Then your thighs, then your calves.
Now, I have to ask, why the tension? Why not just relax? I mean, shouldn't we be trying to let go of tension?
It's counterintuitive, but it's because the body learns through contrast. When you are stressed, your muscles carry microscopic tension that you don't even notice.
Like your jaw is clenched and you don't realize it.
Right. By actively stiffening and then releasing the muscle group, you send a mechanical signal up the vagus nerve to the brain, confirming that the physical environment is safe.
Oh, fascinating.
You force a cognitive override. You flush the cortisol.
Yeah.
Through that simple physical contrast of stiffen and release, you are teaching the body, I am here. I am safe. I have the capacity to begin.
Okay, so only then do you bring in the vision, once the body is safe. But once we are inside that vision, the guide points out the ultimate flaw in almost every manifestation script out there.
Which is?
Most scripts pretend everything is going to be incredibly easy. You imagine the goal, everyone supports you, the work flows effortlessly, you feel nothing but confidence.
Yeah, and real life just doesn't work like that. If your visualization only features smooth sailing, your mind is completely unprepared when you inevitably hit a wall.
Exactly.
Because if you don't train a response to friction, the first time you feel the urge to check your phone instead of doing deep work, your brain panics. It assumes the vision is failing, and it abandons the practice entirely.
So the script must include a brief rehearsal of a difficult moment. You literally have to visualize resistance. The text gives a fantastic example of this. It says, I see myself sitting down to begin the task. Resistance appears. I notice it. I breathe. I soften my body. I return to the next step.
I love that so much. You aren't making resistance the star of the show, but you are acknowledging its existence.
You're expecting it.
Yes. You are teaching your nervous system that when the urge to procrastinate hits, it is not an emergency. You don't have to panic or quit. You can just stay steady and keep moving.
Right. And once the body is settled and we have made peace with the fact that resistance will show up, the actual language we use in our heads becomes the programming code for our brain. The architecture of the script is so crucial here.
Oh, absolutely.
There's one massive linguistic rule the guide insists on: never use negative framing.
This is huge. It taps into a psychological concept called ironic process theory, sometimes called the pink elephant problem.
Because if I tell you not to think of a pink elephant,
Your brain has to conjure the image of the pink elephant in order to process the command. It's unavoidable. People will write a script and say, I am not anxious today, or I am not avoiding my work.
but the mind needs a positive direction. If you say, I am not anxious, the mind still has to hold the heavy, restrictive image of anxiety to understand the sentence. You are keeping the old image alive on the server.
Exactly. You must give the mind the image you actually want to move toward. Instead of, I am not anxious, you say, I feel steady. Instead of, I'm not avoiding my work, you say, I begin with one clear step.
And that ties directly into the if-then protocols the source recommends, right? Things like, if I feel overwhelmed, I write the next visible step.
Yes, psychologists call these implementation intentions. See, when you are stressed, your prefrontal cortex, the logical planning part of your brain, essentially goes offline.
You just react.
You revert to your most deeply ingrained habits. The if-then lines are brilliant because they allow you to bypass that whole process. You are delegating your decision-making to your past, calmer self.
Oh, that's powerful.
You are deciding in a state of safety how you will act in a state of stress.
So we aren't just hoping we'll be brave. We are literally writing the code for what we will do when we inevitably want to quit or procrastinate.
Precisely.
And that structural intentionality extends to how the guide approaches gratitude, too, because it distinguishes between weak gratitude and strong gratitude.
This part really shifted my perspective. Weak gratitude is very passive. It says, everything is fine. I have a roof over my head. It could be worse, so I can just relax.
It breeds complacency.
It does. But strong gratitude creates responsibility. Think of it like going to the gym. Weak gratitude is being thankful the weights are light so you don't have to work hard.
Right.
Strong gratitude is being thankful you have the muscle to lift the heavy weights. Strong gratitude says, I have been given this day. I have been given this opportunity. I will use it well. It turns gratitude from a comforting blanket into a vehicle for action.
Okay, so the script is perfect. The body is primed. The if-then protocols are loaded. The visualization is done. You open your eyes. What happens in that very next second dictates whether this was a life-changing practice or just a nice little nap with pictures.
And this is the golden rule of the return. The text states very clearly, you visit the future not to escape today, but to learn how to live today. When you open your eyes, you must choose one action to take immediately.
The emphasis on one action is so important, not 20. Ambitious people love to visualize an incredible future and then immediately write a massive punishing list trying to fix their health, wealth, relationships, and sleep all by noon.
Which is a disaster.
Yeah.
That leads straight to cognitive overload. Your brain looks at the list of 20 things, gets completely overwhelmed, and you end up doing nothing.
You freeze.
You have to pick one thing. And this leads to what might be the absolute hardest-hitting quote from the entire source material.
Lay it on us.
If you visualize and scroll, you train fantasy. If you visualize and act, you train identity.
Wow. If you open your eyes from this deep, empowering visualization, pick up your phone and start scrolling social media, you are actively training your brain that the future you just saw was just a movie. It was just entertainment.
It wasn't real.
But if you visualize, open your eyes, and immediately take one meaningful action, you are showing your brain that the vision was a blueprint.
Now, I know the temptation for the listeners to ask, if I only do one small thing today, like making a single sales call or doing a 5-minute workout, am I really moving fast enough to reach a massive 3-year vision? It feels entirely too small.
It really does feel small.
But the size of the action isn't what matters at first. It is the proof. One task creates proof, and proof builds identity.
Evidence.
Exactly. When you take that immediate action, you are providing your nervous system with undeniable evidence that you are the type of person who does what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
The goal of the first action isn't to cross the finish line. It is to cast a structural vote for your new identity.
And the text notes that to really install this identity, you need to keep the exact same visualization script for months. Now, people hear that and think they're going to get so bored doing the exact same vision every day.
But boring is not always bad. In fact, boring repetition is exactly how identity gets installed deep into the subconscious. You do not need every single morning to feel magical or deeply emotional.
It's just reps.
You just need to train a direction. You keep the destination stable, and you only change the daily action that moves you toward it.
Let's zoom out and summarize this entire journey for a second. The process we've decoded today is incredibly precise. You don't just close your eyes and wish for $1 million to fall from the sky.
Definitely not.
First, you settle your body with breath and muscle contrast so you aren't fighting your own nervous system. Then, you see the dream, the tangible symbols of the life you want on an ordinary Tuesday 3 years from now. You decode those symbols into the daily behaviors and emotional maturity required to sustain them.
You preload your responses.
Yes, you preload your responses to the resistance you know is coming using positive language. You return to the present moment, and you immediately take one single action. Because your future self doesn't need another promise. It needs evidence.
It is a complete paradigm shift from passive wishing to active becoming. And as we wrap up, I really want to leave you with a thought to consider as you go about your day. Something that builds on everything we've discussed about resistance.
Go ahead.
What if the version of you 3 years from now, that calm, capable, successful future self, is already trying to communicate with you? And what if they aren't speaking to you through grand, magical visions, but through the exact task you are feeling the most resistance toward today? What if your current discomfort is literally the blueprint for your future success?
Consider that as you look at your to-do list today. The future is hiding right inside the friction. Don't just sit there feeling inspired. Find that one action and go give your future self some evidence. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you.